Again, welcome everyone to for another session of the Vice President Education Excellence Series Workshop. And I just want to thank everyone for coming today. And you're really going to learn a lot about how to activate your members and utilizing their speeches and understanding how you can bring a speakers bureau within your club and how can that take their speaking to the next level. So I have a lot of experience of starting in Toastmasters, speaking on stage, and it is nerve-wracking, but as you get used to it, it gets better and better. And it's just the experience that you're going to get and the exposure and the many ways of developing relationships with people within the district, outside the district. It could be a non-Toastmasters event where you'll be invited to speak. It could be paid or non-paid. However, it's going to be a great experience of learning how the Speakers Bureau can really help your club and activate pathways within your club. Because I know a lot of you have said that you're struggling with your members activating pathways and giving those speeches. So this will really get people excited about taking their speaking to the next level. So I'm going to bring up my presentation. Later, I'm going to bring up the Speakers Bureau. There's a Speakers Bureau actual brochure that just explains what is the Bureau, what's the benefits, but I'm just going to really go over that with you. And let me know if you can see the presentation. All right. Great. So we really want to take our members' education to another level. We just don't want them just sitting there just giving speeches, but we really want to know what their goals are. Do they want to be a speaker? Do they want to be more involved where they can exercise what they're learning in pathways and just take it to that next level? So what you're going to learn today is how to increase engagement in pathways education with your members. You're also going to understand how to integrate the Speakers Bureau at a club level to add excitement. And then also, what are the benefits are the club members getting within this Speakers Bureau program? And, from a district perspective and from a non-Toastmasters perspective when it comes to events. Let me see. I don't know if I have a question here. Hold on for a minute. Okay. Let's make sure I hide this because I don't want you to see any gray bars. Okay. So the next thing is we want to talk about pathways engagement. Why? Can anybody tell me why we should have more engagement around pathways? If I can get two people. Anne.
Okay, you want to have pathways engagement because it's a formal way for people to learn how to speak, and they are only going to get out of Toastmasters what they put into it. And so the more that they're engaged in pathways, the more they're going to learn, the better they're going to feel about themselves, and the more enthusiastic they'll be about Toastmasters.
Exactly. Thank you. That's a great way to sum it up. Because I'm telling you, I mean, we just need them to be more engaged and understand that it's part of Toastmasters. And it's a brand. Toastmasters is a brand. I feel like the word pathways is taking over Toastmasters. If you really if you really look at it. But I like how you put your perspectives and your twist on that. Anyone else want to share? Why?
Yeah, this is Gigi. So I was working with asked me to be her mentor, and we went through pathways. And one of the most exciting things I always share with anyone who, who takes the time, that the pathways program actually provides almost like a visual assessment and a path on how you can begin to prepare your speech. Tells you what is it that you're looking for, what is it they want you to address, what your evaluations are going to be like, stuff like that. So beginning, middle, and end, it gives them everything in there. So the Pathways is really a good program for anyone who is going to write a speech, to use it. And then to help them at the end to assess what they just did. Did you think you did a good job? Yes, no. The one person I was working with, she was doing a communication style. And I said, answer those questions and tell me what you think about it. And when she was done, she's like, wait, I didn't think I was this. I said, well, you can take this test many times over. This is about the speech you're going to write. And it was so funny to her. She just chuckled and said, okay, I like this. I think I'm going to do it again. So it does provide a guidance, a really great guidance on how to begin to prepare for a speech.
It does. I'm glad that you did bring that up, because Pathways does get you excited, because you never knew that you was this style of communicator. And so there's so many different levels in Pathways where you really learn a lot about yourself, especially when you get into those projects. You got the emotional intelligence one, where you have to write a journal. And so you have to be very consistent in, how you're feeling that day and all that. And then also with the communication style, I just thought that was amazing too. So you really learn a lot. It keeps you engaged. And that's why I'm going to talk about how to keep the member engaged. Is if you don't have a mentoring development program, I know I had mentioned this before, it does increase engagement to a point where they're thinking about their speech, that first, which is the icebreaker speech. So you're helping them get through that first 3 speeches within a level 1, because you know that sometimes even when you're working with them with the 3 speeches, we want to keep mentoring them after the 3 speeches, because there's somewhere down the line where level 1, it takes so long to get through to get to that level 2. So you really want to stick with your mentees. You really want to let your mentors know after the 3 speeches, we want to encourage the mentee to stay with you, to continue and be engaged. And then also with mentoring, it activates the Pathways program. So when you are working with a member, you want to work with them with their assessment, to see where they want to be, which path are they going to choose. Then we want them to be consistent to giving those speeches. And that's where they're going to really develop their speaking. Have you ever seen someone that spoke so well, but you haven't heard them in a long time? And guess what comes back? The filler words. All that work that they put in, but they took a break. And that's what we don't want. We know the filler words are going to be there, but however, if we will just continue to be consistent and speaking, then we're preparing ourselves for the next opportunities. And that's what happens in speaking. Sometimes you just don't know when the opportunity is going to come, but it will present itself. So I want to talk about the benefits of the Speakers Bureau. Let me see if we have any questions. Okay. All right. So I want to talk about the benefits of having a Speakers Bureau, which I'll go over the brochure with you, but it's very interesting that it opens up for speaking opportunities, which I'm going to share a little bit later. It also is helping you create, if you're giving a lot of speeches, especially if you're known for a certain topic, like for me, I talk about the future of work. So I do have a lot of speeches on the future of work. And maybe there's a nonprofit organization out there that wants somebody to come in and speak to their members. And maybe they'll reach out to your club because you have a relationship with that organization? Do you have someone that speaks on a topic? So that's really great for that. And it's also gaining experience as a speaker. And then you're going to meet other speakers and you're going to be developing those relationships with different organizations. Now, the leadership opportunity, because you are the vice president of education, is activating the Pathways program. So after you're speaking to your members, talk about this great program that you're going to bring in, which is the Speakers Bureau, to give them the opportunity to speak at district level or a non-Toastmasters organization. And then you're going to be, there will be an appointment of a Speakers Bureau chairman. That person needs to be energetic and has a lot of enthusiasm, loved speaking, want to see the opportunities for their members to grow. And this person will build a committee and you will help them build that committee to have that Speakers Bureau to show the members, hey, we are partnering with the Rotary Club, we're partnering with it could be a Chamber of Commerce, it could be nonprofit organizations that you can reach out to and say, hey, we have some speakers that are on board who wants to speak at a non-Toastmasters. And in your path, in path level 5, there is a project where they want you to go outside of Toastmasters in a non-Toastmasters organization to give a keynote. And you get credit for that. So this is great opportunities for our members to activate that pathways and working through the levels. And then by the time they get to level 5, because you really do have to have about 6 speeches under your belt before you could be inducted into a Speakers Bureau at the club level. So you really do have to have some speeches under your belt and some evaluations, and you're getting better and better. So the next thing is that a Speakers Bureau, when it comes to opportunities, I just want to let you know what opportunities can happen for your members. They can be an educational speaker at a Toastmasters Leadership Institute. They can also be a club officers makeup training, educational session speaker. Or if you want to train our club officers, we're always looking for trainers. So say if someone wants to be a trainer, they want to use their speaking abilities, these are opportunities. Being a district conference educational speakers, do you know we do have a hard time finding those individuals? So if we can really have our clubs open this Speakers Bureau to our club members, no telling how many members will be ready for that next opportunity. So I just think that'll be great for them. And then also being ready for outside non-Toastmasters events. So these are the different things that you can introduce to your club members. And then when we're done with this, I will show you the form that they will fill out as well. And then also there's a brochure that goes with this here program. I want to introduce, how many of you know Calvin Gibbs? And he spoke at one of our Division G, and it was our makeup training. He was one of the speakers. And so he spoke on We're Engaged. So not only is he a certified D103 preferred speaker, you know, he speaks everywhere. He speaks at the district conference, which he's going to be speaking next month on the same topic here. He also speaks as an educational session speaker. He's also a former member of the National Speakers Association. He also speaks around the world when there's opportunities. When he's with the Black Speakers Network, he gets a lot of speaking opportunities, and he's also a podcaster. So he's still a member of Toastmasters, but he has taken his speaking abilities and he has expanded. So these are things that we need to let our members know, that you can take your speaking level at club level and expand it to being a professional speaker at Toastmasters level to a non-Toastmasters level and being a paid speaker. What I had, we had a district level speakers bureau. It's probably still there, but it hasn't been active. But when Sam Sukumar was the program quality director, he had sent out to all the preferred speakers of D103 an opportunity to speak before the American Society of Ocularists, and they had an annual conference. So whoever said yes, of course, it was me, and I said yes to it. And so that's the great thing about the Bureau. When the opportunity is sent out via email, whoever picks it up first, it could be a paid gig or it can be free. In this case, I did get paid for this here presentation that they were looking for at a conference. But the thing is, was it great for exposure as a Toastmaster? Yes, it was. It builds relationships with non-Toastmaster organizations. And not only that, you can show this to your members that this does work. And it does get you on stages, it gives you the experience, and there is a business before you speak. So these are things that your members will learn, and it is a learning curve in some points. I won't go into the learning curve here, but I did learn a lot prior to speaking and how you're chosen by the board, what you had to put together, like your speaking packet. And you will have those organizers like Michelle here who will help you and guide you to the next level. So this is why we want to get our members involved in speaking outside of Toastmasters. And that's why I'm going to talk about the benefits. So the benefits is you want to develop your speaking level. So when you're in club level, we're being evaluated. But the thing is, what happens is when you're stepping up and you're learning how to speak from a pathways education, now you're going to apply what you learn. And that is something I learned about a week ago, that people are learning new skills, but they're not applying them. And I believe with the Speakers Bureau, it's going to take you up to the next level to apply what you learned in pathways. You're going to develop relationships with those organizations that are looking for speakers. And the reason why you want to develop relationships after you speak within an organization, you just don't want to leave them. You just want to keep in 3 months, you probably want to say, hey, how's everything going? Are you looking for any speakers for your upcoming events? And so this is great for your club as well. And you're keeping track. When I do show you this bureau, this Speakers Bureau platform, you are, as a VPE and the chairman, you're going to keep tabs on your club members to see how everything's going, who they're speaking for, what organizations are contacting your club for speaking opportunities. And then you're getting exposure to the speaking stage. And so, and it could be at any level. Again, you could be you could be an in-person Toastmasters, Leadership Institute, education trainer, or just a speaker. You could be speaking at the district conference. These are the things that you want to have that exposure, and you feel good about yourself because not only are you speaking at club level, but you're taking what you learn, and then whatever you're passionate about, which is that topic, you want to present that on stage. And then, most of all, building speaking confidence. a lot of people have a fear of public speaking. And if we're not out there, sometimes you just got to put yourself out there. Even when you're scared, they said, do it scared. And before you know it, those hours are going to be clocking, and then you're going to see yourself as a professional speaker. And so I think these are great options for our members to activate pathways, to take their speaking to another level, even when they're starting at district level. I always say, try to be that district education speaker. Even if it scares you, at least people are getting to know your face, you're getting to know the stage. And then you're engaging. Your members are going to engage in their pathways even more. And I know, again, I know you had said that you're having a hard time with your members engaging in pathways. I think these programs like this, if you incorporate it in your club, you have the right chairperson that's going to be running the Speakers Bureau, just like you have your meetings for your club officers, executive team, have that chairman come in, give an update on how it's going. And then BPE can give their report on, did you see an uptick in pathways? Are the members more engaged now? Now they know they can take their speaking to another level. All right. So I know that, I love talking about different topics with you all, but I also like to have this time where you can ask questions, how you can incorporate a program like this. And then once we're done, I'll just go over the brochure as well. Or do you want to go over the brochure and then do Q&A? Let me know.
I have a question. This is Amy.
Okay, Amy.
When you're talking about starting at like the club level, are you talking about having like club members do the speaking outside the club, or having the club members be part of the district speakers bureau, or just kind of our club speakers bureau?
Yeah, so the thing is, it just be club level. So you do have district level where they're basically just working with the preferred speakers, like myself, Calvin Gibbs, Dr. Allison. Dr. Allison, you are a preferred speaker. Well, we gotta get you there. We gotta get you there. But I know that Calvin Gibbs is one. So when something comes from the outside, they send it to us, and then whoever comes first says yes. But when it comes to the club level, say if you see a call for speakers for the conference, I think it's an opportunity to tell your members, hey, they're looking for speakers for the conference. You need to sign up for that. Because we're not getting a lot of members doing that. We're getting the same people over and over. And I just think that there have to be some talent in these clubs. I can't go to all of them, but my thing is, there's somebody out there besides the same people that we're seeing that they're dynamic, but they have not been exposed to the district. And I think that the exposure, sometimes people are nervous. I know when I gave my first training on social media 101 in District 30, that was back in 2017, and we were about to split up to District 103. I had a coach, Sandra Washington. So she was my coach. She showed me the ropes. And so sometimes having that mentor to help you get on the stage, that way you know how to present. Yes. So I think that having that bureau is going to give them that exposure on where they can speak. Yes. Bessie.
Yeah. I thought part of the Professional Speakers Bureau was that you had to do X number of speeches, get paid
You
for
do.
it. Okay.
No, well, that's a credited speakers program. The accredited speakers program, you had to have spoken at 25 non-Toastmasters events to be in the accredited program. This one here is just a speakers program to get members to be activated in speaking, having their toolkit of different speeches. So when a organization that you contact and you say, hey, I say bold literary, and then the talkers, and you say, we have a speakers bureau and we have a couple speakers who are open for non-Toastmasters events if you need a speaker.
Okay.
And so if they do keep you in mind, you can set it up where you want to be contacted first, because they have a list of speakers, which I'm gonna show you how that goes. And then, which I think they should contact the VPE, because the VPE can present that to the members who are interested in speaking outside of Toastmasters. That way you keep a tab on it. But once you introduce it to them, they say yes to the events, then you introduce them to the organization and whoever the organizer is. And that's what happened with me with the American Society of Ocularists. Once Sam put it out there that they're looking for a speaker, I said yes. He contacted organizer. I got a speaker for you. He introduced us both, and then we take it from there. Yeah. Gigi.
Yeah, so we have an Accenture Rising Voices member, or president actually. He was approached by an external organization, just happens to be his client, to do something like a leadership series, and Mr. Brooks gave us some pretty good materials to work with, and we also went online. We had a call. I'm also going to invite you, Val, because hopefully the call still happens, because it's been rescheduled a few times just because of people traveling. And out of 40 people, we have 8 of them that have signed up. So what do you call that? Would that be a speaker series, or that's just something we're doing for an external organization? What would you call that?
Yeah, I would call it part of the Speakers Bureau. If you had that in place. See, if you had that in place and someone was requesting, because right now this person don't know you have a Speakers Bureau. They just reaching out, saying that we want you as a speaker. But that could be part of it, because that's the same thing that happened to Sam. When Sam was approached by this organization, it was an opportunity to spread it out to the preferred speakers, and then whoever spoken. But this individual went to one of your members, asking them to do this leadership, series. So I would say that this was just an outside opportunity. It wasn't like they read it somewhere that you had a Speakers Bureau, but it could be treated like that. Like once you do have it set up and it's on your website saying that we have speakers that are looking for opportunities to speak at your events. We just don't get into the business. It's up to the speaker to bring that up, that they are a paid speaker, and then see if there is a budget for it. If it is, fine, they just name their price. If it's not, but it's just for exposure to it, I've seen speakers do things for free for exposure to 20,000 attendees.
Wow.
But a lot of people say don't do that because if those 20,000 attendees paid something like, say, for instance, $1,250, I wouldn't do that for free. I wouldn't, to be honest. If you have 20,000 attendees, let's say it's SHRM. SHRM has a big turnout for their conferences, 35, 40,000. And they're paying over $1,000 for this whole week long. I'm not putting SHRM's business out there because I don't know how they do business, but I'm just giving you an example. because you have HR people who are looking for knowledge. And I don't think they're going to say, come here and speak for free. And I think that you have to really weigh your options on where you're speaking. But if it's like a small nonprofit organization and they want to give you a small token for your time, you know, I would say accept it, because it's something that's going on your resume and you're getting that experience as a speaker. So there's always different opportunities, but you have to outweigh them on what's free and what's paid.
Valerie,
Anyone?
this is Samuel.
Yes.
As far as the preferred speaker, is there a prerequisite? By that, I mean, should the member who desires to participate have completed at least one pathway to have a small stock of speeches under their belt, or does it make any difference?
Yeah, you have to have at least 6 speeches under your belt. Yeah, you
Okay.
do have to have 6 speeches. And I do have to call the education team, because in this manual, in this here brochure is still talking about manuals, and we're not in manuals no more. We're in pathways. So I want to know if they had updated the Speakers Bureau. I think everything is probably the same, but like you said, do you have to finish a path, or do it still goes the same as the legacy 6 speeches? So, because I know sometimes this information gets
Yeah.
buried in their website. It's so hard to find stuff sometimes on the Toastmasters International website. But if I can get a call, call them and ask them, do they have an updated version for the Pathways program? That would be great.
Right.
Oh, you're welcome. Anyone else have any questions or curiosities?
I think my curiosity is kind of still stuck on, I guess it's just the language. Well, it's not just the language, it's requirements. The professional paid, you have to do this many speeches and you get paid for it, versus now an opportunity to speak, whether it's for free or whatever. It's just giving you an opportunity to speak and, professionally, actually. It's not a certified professional speaker. I'm just trying to get the distinction.
Yeah, so when I was speaking the first part, that was at district level. So you have your district level speakers bureau. So they just go to the preferred speakers. Those are the ones who got certified, they auditioned during those events. But there's no difference between the two. I mean, it's just that's at district level, this is at club level.
Okay.
But it's up to you as a speaker if you want to do it for free or if you want to get paid. So if you're at a level right now and you got like over 20 speeches, you got a toolbox full of speeches, you've been doing this, at your outside your club, you've been doing some trainings, with the TLI, you've been doing panel discussions, then I think you should get paid, right? And even if it's at a minimum of $750, you can talk that talk and say, do you have a budget for your speakers? And let them say, yeah, we do. And so these are things that will come up because it came up for me. And so, I named my price. They went back to the board and they said, yes, we will pay you this amount. But sometimes you have to say what you want to say, especially when you feel that you're ready. If you feel like you're not ready to get paid and you just want to get the experience, just go for the experience. That's what I did. I spoke at different levels, district level, area level, division level, because I wanted that experience. And then when I start feeling confidence about who I am as a speaker, I deserve to get paid. And I know sometimes it's hard to have those conversations. But however, you don't want to be taken advantage of either.
Yeah.
And so you know when to stop doing things for free.
Yeah.
And you know when to do something for free because you see the opportunity. Yeah. And then you ask questions. Yeah, you ask questions with your VPE or people like Calvin Gibbs or anyone that's a preferred speaker. You can ask those questions, because they've been through that experience. Or if you know someone that's not a preferred speaker, and they speak all the time, it's good to have someone in your corner. That way they can say, no, you need to be asking for this. I had someone tell me that. They said, oh, you asked for this amount. Next time you ask for
Ask
this.
for this amount.
Yes. So it's good to have that. But the Speakers Bureau, I'm being honest with you, is really good, especially for your beginners. Like I said, like Samuel said, we just have to make sure we letting them know how many speeches they need to have under their belt so they can feel comfortable speaking. I always say start your members at district level. So if you know there's a TLI that's about to happen, maybe they can be an education trainer, or maybe they can be a speaker at a conference.
If I can share, because I've trained, but it was the VPE, which, I'm a VPE, so did that training. And it seems simple enough, for whatever reason. Even sitting here listening to you, and I want to share very quickly, I've gotten paid $0 and I've gotten paid $5,000. When I first spoke, I'm a social worker. I called National Association of Social Workers. Said, what should I pay? That was decades, charge. And the guy said, well, are you going to prepare more for 15 people than you would for 1,500? Basically, at the end of the day, he told me no matter what, just think about your subject matter, charge what you want. Do not worry about how many people are in attendance, which still frightened me. But and the $5,000, all I had to do was teach 2 trainings on communication with the educators at a university. And I think, where was I? Anyway, it was not New Orleans. It's like on the other side. I always forget where it was. And it was wonderful. And I felt very confident. But for some reason, the thought of getting in front of my peers, other Toastmasters, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I'm a lecturer at UIC and at University of Chicago.
And you should have been nervous there.
So, you just feel like, okay, I know this subject matter. You're teaching it. They want to learn. So it's easy. It's easy.
Yeah. And it could be,
3
and
hours.
it could be that you're confident about your subject matter versus if you're teaching a VPE too, because you have to stay within the parameters of Toastmasters, but sometimes you can change that up by bringing in your own expertise, adding a little flavor to it to make it more exciting, and then you start feeling more comfortable too. But as you're continuing to do club officers training and people getting used to seeing you, you're getting used to seeing them being on that platform, it becomes second nature. But when you first do it, you will be nervous. You're going to have those jitters, but people are going to tell you, you seem nervous. You look very confident, but on the inside, you're a wreck.
That is what people say.
Yes.
Like...
Yes. Oh my life. But that exposure of speaking on stage, I think that's great, because I did that with Patricia Fripp when she came for D30, and she always had people jump on stage. She gave them an open line and you start speaking and she critiques you. And I did that one time. I was nervous on the inside, but everything was just coming out, flowing. And I thought she was going to stop me. And she did it. And she said, bravo. Oh my God. Just freaking awesome. She said, I just want you to sell my TV show. I'm like, oh my God. But I was nervous, because I've got like over 100 people and eyes on you, and you just about to faint. And she's the number 10 speaker in the nation, and you're like, oh, hope I don't mess up.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you're thinking about, is hope I don't mess up. But like she said, even though you're doing great, she said, keep up the work. And that's the same thing. So if you get that speaking opportunity, keep it consistent. Don't say yes. If they ask you again, can you do this training? Yes. that's the only way that nervousness is going to go away. But a lot of people will tell you there are professional speakers right now, they still get nervous. They still get nervous. And I think what it is trying to be a perfectionist, or you worrying how they're going to perceive you. But we always have to remember that they're not worried about what you look like, what you sound like. Whatever that topic you're going to talk about, they really came to hear that, to be honest. And if we will just present what we said we're going to speak about, like I'm speaking on the Bureau, you came here to understand what is the Speakers Bureau. How does it benefit my members? Well, one, we can activate them in pathways now. Now they see an opportunity to not only speak, but also build their speeches. You know, what are you known for when you're speaking? Is there a topic that you're passionate about that the world can hear? So I just think that sometimes we have to expand, you know, our knowledge outside of Toastmasters. It don't have to be outside of Toastmasters. It could still be Toastmasters at a club level, but let's go to area level. Let's go to division level. You know, even being a contest master, that's speaking also. And like Dr. Ellison said, there's no free speech. No free speech. So if you're doing something at a contest level or some kind of TLI, there is a project in your path that you can get credit for. Even if you got paid for it and you went to an organization and you did that leadership panel for them and they paid you for it, you still get an evaluation. Yes, and that's in that Speakers Bureau packet. So let me, do anyone else have any questions before I bring up that Speakers Bureau brochure? I want to make sure I catch everyone. Let me just close this out. Yeah, sometimes we have to bring in new stuff for our clubs, because we can't keep doing the same thing over and over. And then we're saying why our members are not engaged. And so I think, I know I saw somebody had put in the chat that you have a Speakers Bureau, but you're having a hard time keeping it engaged. And I think that's where your chairman, your committee chairman, they have to be enthusiastic. They have to talk about it at club level to keep it going. And especially, you know, if they don't really understand it, you know, have an educational session. Quarterly, we at South Loop Speak Freaks, we have an educational session that we talk on different things. So if you want to talk about the Speakers Bureau, how to take your speaking to the next level, that'd be something great for your club. So here, you know, I had already talked about, you know, how to develop a Speakers Bureau. It starts with the BPE, and you appoint the bureau, the Speakers Bureau chairman, and then that could be also with the committee as well. And so, you know, you set your standards, you know, like here is at 6 manual speeches, but again, I'm gonna follow up with TI and ask them what is the number of speeches they will have to give, since this says manuals and not pathways. And then you want to explain the purpose of the Bureau, you know, to get them to participate, to do their speeches. And I think this would be something that they can look forward to. There is an application form for the members who are interested in joining, which is this application here. So it just has all the information, you know, what their occupation is, accomplishments. So like here, they can probably fill out the top part, and then whatever they're going to be talking about, speaking time, preferred speaking times, times of unavailable. That's good information to know. So whoever is contacting the chairman, you know, do you have a speaker for this particular date, you know, and they have their preferred, you know, place where, you know, areas that they will speak. So this is good information to have for organization if your club is ever, and this is a registry form too. So please complete this form for each non-Toastmaster speech you give, and then you return that. So if it's non-Toastmaster, you'll just fill this out and give that to your chairman. But you'll all get this here. But if I get the Pathways version, that'll be great too. But however, the person, I don't know who it was. I don't have my chat thing on open, but to keep the Bureau going, to keep it engaged. So here's information here that talks about it. Call speakers, arrange engagement or contact, an alternative, so points to remember. So I just think it's good to, pass this out to your members to let them know what a bureau is. They can even look at it online, but I just prefer just giving it to them so they can look it over. But you want to keep it consistent as well, and this constantly request speakers to the chairman as well. I see Amy's hand up.
Yes. With the Speakers Bureau, you're going to be having people speaking outside the clubs or outside Toastmasters. How do you handle the getting credit for that speech?
So they still can get credit. It was something here they were talking about this portion here, and then having the evaluator. So once they completed this portion here, to be completed by the Bureau and to be completed by the Toastmaster. So I know that if it's outside, if you have like an MC or something, of course you're going to put all your information, and then your evaluator, you can ask someone to evaluate you, or you can take an evaluator with you to evaluate your speech.
So that would be, like, evaluator most likely would be a non-Toastmaster evaluator.
Yeah.
And that's
or you can bring somebody from Toastmasters with you.
right.
I've seen it too.
But so like if you talk with your VPE or whatever, say, I'm going to go talk to, I just thought Belly Dancers Association, and you come back and, they said, yeah, you were here this time, you spoke on this, and it was well received or something.
Oh yeah.
And is
I
that
have gotten
good enough?
Go ahead.
Is that good enough? Okay.
Yeah, because I spoke to I had spoke free at a college, and they wrote me a great recommendation letter. And then, they gave me a great evaluation and how well I did. So something like that is really good for credit for your evaluation. And then if you're wanting somebody to come with you, and you want something like a Toastmasters evaluation, you can ask the organizer, can you bring a guest with you to do your evaluation? Okay, that was a great question. Yeah, but I will be contacting Toastmasters International. Again, it's very simple, straightforward. It's really to get your members engaged with Toastmasters. Let me see, because somebody had to jump off. Betsy, we are doing a session like that next week if it doesn't change. Okay, that's Gigi. All right, but my thing is, think about it. Again, I'm going to see if we have an updated Speakers Bureau form. That way it be connected to Pathways. That way we know exactly how many speeches. We know in the past it was 6. We'll see if it's the same as well. So that would probably be equal to 2 paths or less. Because I believe that 1 path right now, I see 5 speeches sometimes within a path now. So, but do anyone else have any questions? I know we're approaching almost the top of the hour. Thank you, Anne. I saw your message. Okay, well, everyone's going to get this recording, and you're also going to get the PowerPoint. and then some additional information from TI. Once I get that information, but I wish you all the best. If you have any questions, let me put pretty sure you have my email. Well, I'm gonna put my email in the chat. It's pqd@d103 toastmasters.org. Yeah. And so I'm definitely going to get that information over to you all. And I wish you all the success in everything you do as VPEs. And then hopefully that this will increase the engagement with Pathways and see our members thrive and taking their speaking to the next level. And if that means starting at district level, I say start there. And then once you get comfortable, then I'll say move outside as a non-Toastmaster and speaking professionally, if that's what they want. Because I know we have to make sure that's what they want, because many people are not trying to be professional speakers, but we don't know until we ask. Yeah, because everybody has a goal. All right, it was a pleasure. Anne?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I do. If I could do a little bit of shameless self-promotion. I am actually doing a training on free toast toast for my district at the end of March, on March 19th. And so I wanted to put it in the chat if anybody was interested.
Huh.
And just feel free to sign up and join in. I'd be delighted to have you.
That'd be great. I think you shared it with me. You probably had to go
Oh,
to
okay. Yeah.
everyone. But
Yeah.
I'll still grab it.
There we go.
Okay. And then while I got everybody on the I almost said phone on Zoom, not South Loop Speak Freaks, but our district is having a conference and it is hybrid. And it's going to be April 25th through the 26th. Let me put that in the chat. Early bird is almost over, which is tomorrow. The club registration is $175 and individual is $35. And so I'm just going to put that link in there.
Okay, can I ask a question on that? So so is it just the hybrid for the entire club that's that price? How does that
Well,
work?
so if it's a club and you just want to do hybrid, it is $175,
Okay.
for your club. So once you pay for your club, anyone from your club can attend.
So they can go either in person or watch
Mhm.
online.
Yeah, because
Wow.
Wanda said it's hard to predict who's going to be in person. We still sent out a Google form. We're still working on that part to see
Okay.
who's going to be in person, but we do have for individuals, they can pick either they're going to be in person or they're going to be online, and those individual people would get their unique Zoom link. But for those in the club, of course, we're just gonna have to give them a link to come on online. But outside districts are welcome to attend, and then as well as the district as well. So it could be in person or online. And then I love Wanda because Wanda is amazing. She said, even if you're an individual and you sit online and you just decided you want to come, we'll have a badge. We'll have a badge for you.
Oh, Jocelyn Tyson spoke at our meeting last year. She is amazing.
She
Absolutely
is.
amazing. She's worth the price of admission.
Yes. That's what I told people. I say you got to come. I was like, you got to invest in yourself. I mean, the price is low. I'm being honest with you. I'm like, I said, go for it. And I mean, at least you can still buy your food, because we got food that you can purchase along with your ticket. You know, I think that's a good win-win there. And I do see your chat, Gigi. Cool. Great. But yeah, we're looking for volunteers and all that great stuff. Just getting everybody excited today by sending emails and calling people and letting them know, because some people even forgot about the early bird. I'm like, you better get on it because the price is going up. But yes. So, but yeah, but I will definitely spread the word about the Free Toast host, because we do get a lot of clubs who do ask questions about Free Toast host and how to set it up. And I think this would be great for them to come and sign up.
Okay. All right. Fabulous.
Right. All right. And let me just go ahead and I'm gonna stop the recording.